Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 202nd edition of the Sports Reality. My name is Jeremy John, here to bring to you all things sports. Have my man Matthew White via phone. How's everything, Matt?
Oh, it's going great. How are you doing?
Chilling, man. How was the weekend, man?
Great weekend. Great weekend.
Okay, see that now you might have to explain why this weekend was great now when you say it that way.
It was just nice time to be out in the city. You know, nice weather, lots of people.
That's what's up. Crosby, man, back for the second week. How's everything with you, my man? You weren't totally prepared for that one.
No, I got the mic, though. I got the mic. It was pretty good, man. I didn't get to keep up with the sports this week, though. It was pretty busy, so that's why we're trying to chat you up and see what's going on.
Yep. Well, we have a lot to talk about. NBA draft that happened on Thursday. Also, NBA free agency starting soon. NBA awards night tonight. The Big 3-on-3 league premiered yesterday. It's going to premiere on television tonight. Also, some NFL news, Derek Carr, and a lot more to talk about. We even have some Tim Tebow news. So, yeah, you're going to get a lot today in this show. Let's start off with today in sports history. Today is June the 26th, 2017. And on June 26, 1819, Abner Doubleday was born. Okay, boom, since you just walked in and you seemed like you knew that name, I want you to
Abner Doubleday, of course. Everybody knows Abner Doubleday.
Okay, so who is he? I Google.
While you Google him?
Yes.
I believe Abner Doubleday either, one, invented baseball, or two, nailed up the peach basket so that
I know it's not the second one, the latter.
It's the first one he invented baseball?
Let's yes,
it's
also
correct. It's also my rap name, by the way.
You are correct. Doubleday has been historically credited with inventing baseball.
They call me Abner. What?
Although
Abner Doubleday.
This is untrue. Now I'm on Wikipedia, but Wikipedia a lot of times is true.
No, Abner Doubleday totally invented it because he's at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. So in Cooperstown, New York, if you go to the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame, you will see a giant statue of Abner Doubleday at the Hall of Fame. That is a fact.
Oh, I'm not doubting you. It does say that he is credited with it, even though it's not totally true. So
it's not totally true.
That's what, according to Wikipedia, is saying.
Well, that's because the Mayans or the Incans probably had that shit 1,000 years ago.
So yeah, so that is Abner Doubleday. You see, we learn something every week on this show. Other things that happened on June 26th. June 26, 1944, the New York Giants, Brooklyn Dodgers, and New York Yankees played against each other in a 6-inning contest in a war bonds fundraiser. Over 50,000 people watched the game. The final score was Dodgers 5, Yankees 1, and Giants 0. So I guess they played all. That's weird. Well, not really, but they all played together, which is. I don't know how that's possible. Matt, how do you think that happened?
No, I have no idea.
I thought they made up. I thought like one of the teams may have played the other two teams, but this looks like all three teams played in the same game. That's what it looks like. Dodgers won 5-1 to 0. So that's something I'm gonna have to do some research right there. 1970, Frank Robertson of the Baltimore Orioles hit 2 grand slams against the Washington Senators in a 12-2 win. 1990, Jennifer Capriati at age 14 became the youngest winner of a match in Wimbledon. 1998, Jamaica won soccer's World Cup. It was the first. What? I don't remember this. This doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna have to Google that. This must have been one of the under. It's saying Jamaica won soccer's World Cup in 1998, and I'm just like, nah. I thought it was like France or. Yeah, like 98. Who won? Let's see. That's why we got Google right here. 98 World Cup. Let's look that up. Also, going on Wikipedia, it was France. I knew that. Where does Jamaica? I have no idea. Someone see now that site has false
And that
information.
lied to you.
Yes, I knew it was France. They played Brazil and beat them like 3-0. I think I remember that game. Yeah, 3-0. I'm looking.
Where are we getting these facts from?
Yeah, see, now I got to question where these sports facts are coming from. That's why they probably say maybe Abner Doubleday was not born on that day. 1999, Cal Ripken Jr. of the Baltimore Orioles got his 995th extra base hit. And 2000, Alex Cabrera of the Arizona Diamondbacks hit a 2-run home run in his first major league at bat. All right, let's go to some weekend quick hitters. Starting with Jordan Spieth. He won the Travelers Championship yesterday on wow. He had a great chip shot from the bunker that pretty much won it, and I think it was on either 17 or 18. He was so excited. He did a chest bump with his caddy. Caddy pretty much fell all over the golf course. Matt, did you get to see that highlight?
I have not seen that. That sounds amazing, though.
Yeah, he had a lot of I guess fire. A lot of he was excited, and I mean it's
There's
sports.
not too many chest bumps in golf.
Yeah, they usually don't do that in golf, but I mean, he was pretty excited and he had a lot of emotion, and nothing's wrong with that. I don't dislike emotion and things like that. In sports, it's usually these Debbie Downers that are like, you're not supposed to celebrate that way and have some respect for the game and things like that. But I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Other things that happened this weekend, the Big Three, 3-on-3 basketball league premiered. We will get into that later in our NBA segment of the show. But it was at the Barclays Center for the inaugural games. From my understanding, all games for the week are played. They're played on Sundays, and all the teams they play, and they play to 60. And we'll talk more about it in our NBA segment. Also, TJ Oshie of the Washington Capitals re-signed actually with the Washington Capitals. He's going to be here for at least another 7 years. Hockey has these, or 8 years. Hockey has these long contracts, and it really allows for players to remain with their team if they want to. I remember Ovechkin signed a couple years ago like a 10-year deal. So that's the thing with hockey. You know, if you get a star, you have a good chance at keeping them. If you get them through the draft or things like that, you have a real great chance of keeping them. Matt, I'm going to ask you this real quick. Why do you think the NBA players don't want long-term deals like that?
Because you don't want to. I think a lot of NBA players, they know that they want to get championship rings, and they don't want to be locked in an awful team sometimes. And, you know, like they don't want to get like Anthony Davis. They want to be able to go to different teams and maybe get a ring. And also, there's a lot of really bad, like boring cities that have NBA teams, and you don't want to spend your whole career in Cleveland, and no fun.
Yeah, talking about that, we usually do dog cities like that, and you're totally right, because as a young athlete, sometimes the lifestyle in the city is what really is the nail in the coffin when it
What's
comes
the
to
point
signing
of
with a
being
team.
rich in Cleveland and going to Applebee's?
we probably lost a lot of viewers in Cleveland, but it wouldn't be the first time because we just last week we dogged that same city, Cleveland. But yeah, that could very well be one of the reasons. Let's get right into the NBA draft. And Matt, did you go through your mock draft again and see how?
I have not looked back at it. I saw that some of the, after the trades and there's a lot of draft day movement. My mock draft was in just disarray.
Yeah, I have to honestly go back and look at it to see who actually won because we do have this $10 Chick-fil-A gift card on the line. Number one pick, all three of us knew this was going to happen. Markelle Fultz was going to be drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers. And then Lonzo Ball, I know you're happy for it to be official.
Elated.
Lonzo Ball drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers. But this is where it kind of got interesting from the jump. And we thought, and I say we, I want to give a shout out to my man Harold Laws, who was on here last week. And, of course, you were on here last week, and we had our mock draft. If you did not see it, you could definitely go on the Facebook page, Sports Reality on Facebook, and take a look at it there. We said that it probably would have got crazy after the 5th pick. And I wouldn't say it got crazy, but definitely was a little different. Jason Tatum out of Duke was drafted by the Boston Celtics, followed then by Josh Jackson going to Phoenix to play with the Suns. Now, Josh Jackson did not work out with the Boston Celtics. He said the workout would not fit in his schedule. Who is at fault here? Is it Josh Jackson or his agent for not making this work?
His agent for sure. I feel like at this point, Josh Jackson has little to no control over his schedule. So, the agent probably made sure that he was not going to work out with the Celtics.
Yeah, and I guess the logic behind it was the Celtics had the number one pick, and Josh Jackson was not going to be the number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably didn't plan to work out with them. And then, of course, 5 days before the draft, the Celtics make a trade with the 76ers. Celtics drop down to 3, and probably within those 4 days before the draft, it probably really wasn't in Josh Jackson's fit in his schedule. So I would kind of give his agent a pass. But, yeah, definitely the agent or agents, the agency are the ones that, did not allow for him to work out for, at least the top 5 teams. Markelle Fultz, he only worked out for the 76ers and the Celtics. So, and he only worked out with the Celtics, and he said that was his only team he was going to work out with until the 76ers made that trade. So, it's not out of the ordinary that prospects would only work out with teams that they think they're going to go to. So, yeah, top 4, Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball, Jason Tatum, who goes to Boston, Josh Jackson to Phoenix, and Sacramento drafts De'Aaron Fox, point guard out of Kentucky. Number 6 pick was Jonathan Isaac, and I remember I had him go number 10 to the Blazers. That's one thing I do remember. But Isaac goes to the Orlando Magic, and this is where things get really interesting. Really interesting. The Jimmy Butler of the Chicago Bulls was traded to Minnesota. The Timberwolves reunited with Thibodeau, and now he's going to be with Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns. Butler was traded for Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, and, of course, the draft rights of Lauri Markkanen. So Lauri Markkanen was drafted by the Timberwolves, but his rights then traded to the Chicago Bulls. And I do want to give a quick shout out our boy Wes Dunning. Did you see Matt? He actually was training Lauri Markkanen.
That's cool.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I did not catch that until draft day, and I was like, hold on. That's Lauri Markkanen, who we're talking about in our mock drafts. I'm like, and that's Wesley Dunning. By the way, Wesley Dunning graduated from Gonzaga High School, graduated from Hampton University. Some will say that's the real HU, just like Morgan, who went there. She is yelling right now in the studio. In the office right now. But yeah, Wes is about 6'8", and Lauri Markkanen was towering him. So he's a legit 7 feet tall. Matt, make sure you go on Wes's page and go see that photo, and you're gonna be like, wow, this dude is really, really tall. And we all know Wes is 6'8". But anyways, so Lauri Markkanen now will be playing with the Chicago Bulls. Jimmy Butler traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll get into that later in our NBA segment. Other notable picks, the New York Knicks. And I know Boom said he's not a Knicks fan anymore, but I will always see him as a Knicks fan. They drafted a shooting guard, Frank, and I'm not going to act like I know his last name. Last name is spelled Ntillikina. So I'm not going to even try and butcher his name. I'm going to wait till the announcers and commentators get his name, and then I will figure it out. But I probably will get used to it because, honestly, when Porzingis came on the scene, a lot of people were struggling with his name, and now everyone's just real comfortable saying Kristaps Porzingis. So maybe this guy's name isn't that hard to pronounce, and we will figure it out eventually. Dennis Smith from NC State, drafted by the Dallas Mavericks. Zach Collins. Do you remember where you had Zach Collins going, Matt?
I had him going to the Hornets, the next pick.
Okay. All right. I had him going to the Timberwolves. I think number 23. That's where I had him going. Malik Monk. I really thought the Knicks should have gotten Malik Monk. I really thought they just needed another a scorer, someone that could go with Kristaps, and for the time being, go with Carmelo Anthony until Carmelo's out of there somehow. We'll get into that later. But he ended up being selected by the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte, low-key has a team to be worried about.
They had a good draft, too.
They got a team to be worried about. The Wizards won the Southeastern Division for the first time since, the Southeastern Division started, in the early 2000s, but the Wizards, they hadn't won it. The Wizards hadn't won a division since 1979. The Wizards have Charlotte to worry about right now because that was one team that kind of gave them some issues. And now that the Hornets have Dwight Howard, who was traded right before the draft, and now they, of course, have Malik Monk, Kemba Walker, Nicholas Batum. If Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and I know you like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, right? If he can stay healthy or relatively healthy, that team could be a team that no one wants to face. I'm not going to say they're contenders in the East, but they could be a team that no one just wants to deal with. And selection with Malik Monk, who you're not going to be expecting too much out of him initially, so he might, in the long run, end up being a better player. That's something that I've noticed, and maybe you can give your opinion on this, Matt. Players that are not expected to be the savior, even if they're a first-round draft pick, tend to do better. What's your opinion on that?
I think when a player can come in and just do the things that he is comfortable doing and not being asked to do too much, there's no way that it hurts them. It only makes them more comfortable being in the league, and then they could slowly fall into doing more stuff. And I think that'll be the case with Malik Monk. And the other draft pick also that the Hornets got, Dwayne Bacon. They could just come in, they're natural scorers, they can get buckets, because that is something that the Hornets desperately need. Another scorer to go with Kemba Walker. And yeah, that they're going to be problematic for a lot of teams to beat.
Very next pick was Luke Kennard out of Duke, going to the Pistons. I remember that pick. I remember him going to the Sacramento Kings at number 15. So, and I remember at the time I said, I think I'm reaching at 15, and Harold and you said, well, nah, I don't think you are. So I guess the Pistons didn't think they were reaching either. And so Luke Kennard going to the Pistons, another shooter. He could score from almost anywhere. So I think he'll be fine in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell out of Louisville, drafted by the Jazz at number 13. Bam Adebayo, center out of Kentucky, drafted by the Miami Heat. Now, are they going to try and do like a Twin Tower situation in Miami?
I hope not. I really like that. I think a lot of teams had good drafts these selections, but I really did not like the Bam pick to the Heat. It doesn't really make sense in the way that the NBA is now to have him paired with Whiteside.
Now,
unless he's strictly coming off the bench.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. If he comes off the bench, does your idea of that
It makes more sense, but then it's kind of like a wasted, they need a starting power forward.
That is very true.
Yeah, they don't need a backup center.
Especially with the departure of Chris Bosh, who may never play basketball again. Isn't it crazy that the big three already gone?
They're done.
That's going to be a great 30 for 30.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great 30 for 30 when they finally do that. But yeah, Bam Adebayo out of Kentucky. I think the team is probably saying, okay, you're going to be starting off the bench. But I feel like there are times where going big will be good for a team. This league is such a copycat league where they saw the Golden State Warriors play small. So not everyone wants to be able to play small, and centers are pretty much disappearing from the game. The reason why the Golden State Warriors can play small is because they're the Golden State Warriors. They have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. At the time when they were, winning initially, Harrison Barnes, Andre Iguodala. And then just last year, you add Kevin Durant. So the Warriors have 4 All-Stars on their team. Of course you could play small with that line, with those players. But eventually, teams are not going to be able to play small. And if you can get a big combo where you have a center like Whiteside and someone like Bam Adebayo, I think for stretches in a game, they can do damage. They'll play defense, and I think there'll be enough scoring on the court where their defense, their length, their height is enough to just really disrupt another team's offense. So I think at some point, the big man will come back, and having large lineups is going to be the way to go. So you're definitely right. I think a power forward would have been better for the team, but I think Bam, if he's not expected to do too much, can be all right with them. Justin Jackson out of North Carolina, a good 3-and-D type player selected by the Sacramento Kings. Move on to some other notable picks. TJ Leaf out of UCLA, drafted by the Pacers at number 18. John Collins from Wake Forest. We spoke really well about him last week, drafted by the Atlanta Hawks. Harry Giles III, number 20, to the Sacramento Kings. Was he traded?
Yeah, I think the Blazers, they traded the 10th pick, I believe.
No, he was drafted by the Blazers and then traded to the Kings.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
The Blazers got Zach Collins.
Yes. That's what happened. Terrence Ferguson, he decided not to go to college. He went to Australia, played professionally there, then came back. He was selected by the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the guy that we said is just a flat-out scorer. And I think the Thunder definitely need another person that can score. Of course, the rookie year, you're not going to be expecting him to be dropping 20, 25 points. If he could somehow put in, as a rookie, 14, 15 points, that's if he starts.
He needs to be able to shoot the three ball. Like, that is what he needs to be able to shoot the three, play some defense. Like, he needs to be what Derek Robinson is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Or Andre Robinson.
Andre Robinson's some trash. Like,
Not good.
Like, he shouldn't. Honestly, let me not exaggerate and say he shouldn't be in the NBA, but he should borderline not be in the NBA. What's your thoughts on that, man?
He should not be in the NBA. He doesn't do anything that he is supposed to be able to do well. Like, he plays defense extremely well. Like, that is, I'll give him that. He's a very good defender, but that is not enough. Like, if you're in the NBA, you have to be better at more than one thing. Like, you cannot, especially now, like, you cannot just be a lockdown defender and the extreme liability on defense. Like, you have to be able to do more than one thing.
I think when it comes to Andre Robertson, if you're going to be that bad offensively, you really need to be like an all-pro defender.
Oh, no,
you need to be on first, maybe second team. And he's not on either. So to me, I'm kind of like, what are you really good at? I know some people say jack of all trades, but he's not. He's not really good at really anything. Can't shoot, can't penetrate, can't dribble, can't rebound, can't hit free throws.
Nope.
And he's a good defender when the offensive player is not an all-star.
And he does not dance well.
Does not dance well. You need a good dancing partner with Westbrook.
That is half the reason Cameron Payne is in the NBA.
You may very well be right, because Cameron Payne is not seeing the court in Chicago right now.
Not good at basketball, but he is a very talented dancer.
Jared Allen out of Texas, drafted by the Nets. OG Anunoby, who had a knee injury last season, selected by the Raptors. Tyler Lydon out of Syracuse, going to the Nuggets. Caleb Swanigan, drafted by the Trailblazers. And
Blazers had a good draft.
yeah, your Lakers, Josh Hart.
Yep.
Man, oh man. What did you like that selection?
I like that selection because I don't think Jordan Clarkson is going to be it. I don't like that he's not going to be on the team. I don't think Jordan Clarkson is going to be there at the start of the season. And they had a plethora of guards to come into the drafting process. They lost D'Angelo Russell. I believe they're gonna lose Clarkson. So drafting Hart makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it was a very solid pick for the Lakers. He could be a very good backup point guard. He could come in there and during times when they want to play small. So I think it's a good selection by the Lakers. Moving on to the second round quickly, Frank Jackson out of Duke. He was the very first pick of the second round, staying in Charlotte. Frank Mason out of Kansas, small guard. He's about only like 5'10" or 5'11", but pretty good guard. I think he played 3 or maybe even 4 years at Kansas. Drafted by the Sacramento Kings. Semi Ojeleye out of SMU, going to the Celtics. Jordan Bell from Oregon, going to the Warriors. You mentioned Dwayne Bacon from Florida State with the Hornets. Tyler Dorsey from Oregon, going to the Hawks. Your Lakers got Thomas Bryant. Where was Thomas Bryant from again? The name is familiar, but I can't remember.
I could not remember.
Yeah,
because they had ended up with 4 draft picks, I believe. They got Ball, Hart, Kyle Kuzman, I believe is his name, from Utah, and Bryant, but I'm really not sure where Bryant went to college.
Yeah. Isaiah Hartenstein, Rockets selected him. Dylan Brooks was selected by the Grizzlies. Sterling Brown by the Sixers. Nigel Williams-Goss out of Gonzaga to the Jazz. And those are your notable picks of the NBA draft. I do want to talk about one specific player close to my heart because he played at the University of Maryland. Melo Trimble went undrafted. He did sign with the 76ers to at least be on their summer league team, and then from there possibly get a training camp invitation. I don't know what Melo Trimble was told by scouts and by GMs and by friends and agents, but I remember during the draft the process, he was already projected to go in the second round. My opinion, and I've seen enough basketball in my life, enough sports, with the way the NBA is, if you're leaving college early and you're not even projected to be in the first round, in my opinion, I feel like it's worthless to even leave. Because what's the worst thing that can happen is if you're projected to be a first rounder, is you may drop out of the first round, go to second round. But when you're a second round draft pick, it's not very likely that you're going to move up automatically to the first round in the NBA. So when you're already projected to mid to late second round, I mean, things could happen like draft day trades and things like that where teams then say, oh, things change. I'm not really looking for a Melo Trimble type player. And, of course, he goes undrafted. And because he hired an agent and all of that, you know, he cannot return to college. Last year, he tested the waters. He went to the draft combine, but he did not hire an agent, and right at the deadline decided he was going to go back to play for the Terrapins. I personally believe he should have done that. You have one more year. You'll be able to play in the Big Ten. The team made it to the tournament 2 consecutive years with you. Or actually 3. I'm sorry, 3 consecutive years with you. You'll be able to come back to the Big Ten and possibly compete for a Big Ten title and maybe make that run to, the Final Four. But of course, he made the decision to enter the draft, and now he will not be playing, or he'll be on a summer league team, so he does not have a guaranteed contract. What do you think about that, Matt? Should Melo Trimble have stayed for his senior year at Maryland?
Absolutely. You definitely, like you said, if you're projected to be a second round draft pick, a draft like this could happen and knock you out of the second round. Like, there's a lot of movement by a lot of teams did a lot of trades, and I'm sure that affected Melo Trimble getting drafted. And it wouldn't hurt. He already did it 1 year. Go back, just do the draft process. No agent. See where you're projected to go. It's too low. Go back to college.
Yeah, and I see the other side where people say, "Oh well, the money's there. You gotta take the money when it's there." Also, I hear the injury concerns where, hey, what if you really get hurt your senior year and you never play professionally? I understand that. But also as a competitor, at some point you got to say, look, I'm an athlete. I'm going to play. Not this, oh, I may get hurt, so let me sit out a few games, or let me sit out a season and wait it out and then make my way. Because at that point, I'm then questioning your passion for the game. And some may say Melo's passion for the game was so strong that he decided, look, I need to play professionally. I can't do college anymore. I still think you got to go back to college. If you're projected for the second round, which is non-guaranteed contracts, where you can get drafted today, you can literally be cut tomorrow, and you don't really see anything. The only thing that's guaranteed in the NBA is first-round draft picks. So I personally think he should have returned to college. And actually, if you return to Maryland, Maryland has a good year. You're now being talked about as one of the top point guards in the entire NBA. When you are a point guard in today's NBA and you're one of the top ones, you're gonna go top 15. What happened with the top point guards in this draft? Lonzo Ball goes pretty high. Markelle Fultz is not a point guard, but he went pretty high because he's a guard that can do a lot of things, and because he was one of the best. I think if Melo Trimble were to go back to Maryland and have a very good year, he'll be considered one of the best. Also, I don't think you're just going to fall off. Like, I don't think teams are just going to be like, oh, now he's a bum because he played all 4 years. He must not be that good. I don't think that's the case. Another, I guess you could say, local talent that did not get drafted, Chris Jenkins out of Villanova, who hit the game-winning shot in the championship game 2 seasons ago. Let me just put it like this. I guess I was blinded by that shot that he took and that he made. Chris Jenkins is a very good basketball player, but I understand now why he was not drafted. But I do root for him to make it in the NBA. He signed with the Washington Wizards, and he'll be, of course, on their summer league team. So I'm happy for him. And actually, I'm still kind of happy for Melo Trimble. Just, he really has to work that much harder now just to stay on a roster now. And especially with how deep the guards are with the 76ers, like, he really has to bust his butt to remain on that team, or at least show other teams that he could be an NBA talent. Let's get to some other NBA news. We spoke about the Jimmy Butler trade. Jimmy Butler will be reunited with his former head coach, Thibodeau. He'll be playing with Wiggins and Rubio, or, well, maybe Rubio. We don't know. But definitely Wiggins, Karl-Anthony Towns. How do you think the Timberwolves will play this upcoming season, Matt?
To me, I think that they'll be a playoff team. The thing that can make them the thing that can make them a good team, like a top 4 in the West team, is if Andrew Wiggins takes a step in the right direction. Like, if he adds any other aspect of being a good basketball player to his game other than scoring, if he rebounds a little bit better, or really if he plays defense, if he learns how to play defense like Jimmy Butler learned how to play defense, the Minnesota Timberwolves will be a very scary team.
We got a fly in the studio. Is that something is that something Andrew Wiggins can learn? Is defense something Andrew Wiggins can learn?
That is what the Timberwolves have to believe, that he can learn to be a better defender.
Yes, I think he can, especially with Thibodeau being there now for the second year, and now you're going to have a player, an all-star player in Jimmy Butler, who's going to be there and be able to get really into him and say, look, man, we created a culture in Chicago, and I understand this is Minnesota now, but we made some playoff runs with this coach here, with a team that actually, when you think about it on paper, they were okay, and they made some deep playoff runs occasionally. I think a player like Jimmy Butler can really get into Andrew Wiggins and really, get his competitive spirits up and just say, look, man, you play defense, things can totally change for this team. So I think Jimmy Butler can get Wiggins on board to playing defense. They, of course, have Karl-Anthony Towns, who is one of the best big men in the game already, only 2 years into the league. So that team, in my opinion, will definitely make the playoffs. They would probably be a 6, 7, 8 seed, and may possibly even push even higher depending on how some of these other teams fare with free agency and things like that. Talking about free agency, Paul George, I guess, officially said in the media that, or actually, he officially told his president that he would not be returning with the Pacers after next season. The Pacers president said he was hurt. It was like a gut punch. Paul George has been saying it for a while that he's going to L.A. So I don't know how this president
this is not new news.
didn't know. Like, this isn't news. He's been saying this for months. Or this guy just doesn't watch Sports Center or anything.
Or on Twitter.
Or exactly, doesn't go on Twitter. Maybe we're more of insiders than he is, and he's in the business. But Paul George, of course, officially said he will not be returning with the Indiana Pacers. You're a Lakers fan. Do you want him in La La Land?
Absolutely. It's time for him to come home. He should be playing with Lonzo, and then warm up the seat for LeBron. Let's get these rings coming.
Ooh, see, that was going to be my next transition. Well, I was going to get to that eventually, but the Cavaliers want Paul George, even though if it means possibly for just a year. They were in talks with a 3-team trade. It was going to be Pacers, Cavaliers, and who was do you remember who the third team was?
The Nuggets.
Yeah, I thought it was the Nuggets also. Yeah. Talks fell through. So let's talk about 2017, 2018 real quick. Do you think Paul George will be traded to the Cavaliers for this upcoming season at some point?
I don't think so. The Cavaliers don't have anyone really that they could trade Kevin Love. That would be a lot for a 1-year rental for Paul George.
Yes, I totally agree with you. That is a lot to give up. Let's not be disrespectful to Kevin Love. Kevin Love is very good still. Kevin Love gets the Chris Bosh treatment where everyone says, oh, you're trash because you're not LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Or Kevin Love, you're trash because you're not LeBron or Kyrie Irving. No, Kevin Love is part of the reason why they won last year. Because when he was in the lineup, he made it very difficult for the Warriors. Like, they couldn't leave him open. He was grabbing rebounds and being able to distribute the ball from the post. Kevin Love is really good still. And if Kevin Love is on a team that does not have LeBron James, he'll probably make the All-Star team. I don't see how he would go to Indiana, especially Indiana's kind of hinted that they're not looking for a player like Kevin Love. They have Miles Turner. They're big man. They definitely need some guards and some perimeter scores if you're going to lose a player like Paul George. But yeah, and for the Cavaliers, to me, it just doesn't make sense. That's a lot of money for, like you said, a 1 year or even a 3-month rental, because the deal might not come through until February. So 3 to 4 month rental, that is a lot. So that didn't happen. I just think Paul George is probably going to play this year out, and then he'll sign with the Lakers. Now, of course, the Lakers, they're kind of trying to make some moves because they're like, look, we know he wants to play for the Lakers now. Let's pull the trigger now and keep him locked in with us. Do you think the Lakers should trade for him?
I think they're going to try to trade for him. I think they're going to at least give it a shot.
Do you think they should?
I don't think they should. But I don't know. They're going to try to make the playoffs next year, I think. And going after Paul George would definitely help that.
I think they should get him in free agency because he is really gun-ho about going back to play for the Los Angeles Lakers. Exactly. You don't have to trade draft picks. You don't have to trade players. You pretty much keep your team and then add Paul George. Also, we're talking about Magic Johnson, who so far he's looking like he knows what he's doing when it comes to the basketball player, basketball operations in L.A. We're talking about a Lakers legend, and Paul George is from L.A. and was a Lakers fan. So you already could just play on his heart and just say, look, man, coming home. I know there's another team in L.A., but they not the Lakers.
Yeah. There only is kind of another team in LA.
talking about the Clippers, not Paul. Chris Paul and Blake Griffin both opted out of their deals, so they will be free agents. Do you think Chris Paul and Blake Griffin are going to re-sign with the Clippers?
No, I don't. I don't believe that either one of them made a NBA All Team, like first, second, or third, and that would be the only way that I would see them re-signing so that they could get the mega max. And I know Chris Paul would like to have a chance to go deep into the playoffs, so I don't think he's gonna. It can't happen with the Clippers. Like, it hasn't happened. They're all like, the Clippers are cursed. Like, every time that they're poised to go deep in the playoffs, somebody gets injured in the first round, they're out. And I think Blake Griffin, I don't know where Blake Griffin could go to help a team. But I could see him staying with the Clippers more so than Chris Paul.
I would agree with you also. I think Blake Griffin is going to stay in LA, but Chris Paul is going to make his way out. This is something that a lot of us need to remember. JJ Redick is not returning with the Clippers. He's going to go for the money. There's a market out there for him.
Oh, JJ Redick is a cash out.
And you know who's going to be the starting shooting guard for the Clippers? If Blake Griffin, if Redick leaves and they do not get somebody in free agency, do you know who the starting shooting guard is going to be?
Austin Rivers or Jamal Crawford?
It will be Austin Rivers.
There we go.
And I don't think Chris Paul wants to play with Austin Rivers.
Nobody wants to
consistently
play with Austin Rivers.
So I think that could be the nail in the coffin where it's like, look, who's my other wing guys? You know, my small forward already ain't that great. Luke Mbamute and Wesley Johnson and whoever else you put out there. But now I'm losing Redick. Come on, man. Yeah, I think Chris Paul's out, and I think I think he's going to end up in San Antonio, to be honest. I think he's going to end up in San Antonio. There's just no room for him in Cleveland. Once he leaves the Clippers, I wouldn't be surprised that he want to play with LeBron, but they're pretty stacked there.
Doesn't have any more money for people.
What do you say?
Cleveland doesn't have any more money for people.
And that's the thing. Yeah, I'm saying. You already have Kyrie, you already have LeBron and Love and JR and Tristan Thompson taking up money.
Shout out to Tristan Thompson, the bank robber.
He is a thief, a scammer. My goodness. I just thought about something in my head. How would you feel if Chris Paul signed a 1-year deal with either the Clippers or just any other NBA team, and then in 2018 the Lakers get LeBron James, and then the Lakers trade Lonzo Ball for Chris Paul? How would you feel?
I would be beside myself, upset if they traded for Chris Paul. Like, LeBron James would be one thing. Like, that's fine. Like, he'll still be filthy. I don't want Chris Paul or my team. Like, I don't think he can get it done.
Chris Paul is what is he, 32? I think 32. He probably has like 3 Chris Paul years left. Probably like another 2 like good years. He pretty much has 5 years left, in my opinion, and I agree with you. I know you try and win some championships and things like that, but I don't see why, if Lonzo Ball's who we're saying Lonzo Ball is, you don't trade him for Chris Paul. You gotta roll with Lonzo Ball. But I thought about that. Wouldn't it be crazy because CP3 wants to play with LeBron?
Yeah.
Here's another theory when it comes to LeBron James. Because we're already saying it. LeBron James is going to play for the Lakers 2018. It's happening. He's not returning. He's had a strained relation with the Cavaliers organization. Their GM was not re-signed. He doesn't get along with the owner. Even had rumblings that Jimmy Butler was told by players on the Cavaliers, yo, don't come to this team because this team is not that good. The situation isn't that good. And I believe that happened. And I believe it probably came from LeBron James. LeBron James probably said, "Look, I ain't coming back, so don't come to this team thinking I'm gonna be here. We're gonna play together because you're gonna be stuck in Cleveland. And Chicago's a better city than Cleveland. Cleveland. I mean, this is the second time we're bashing that city.
Cleveland is
today.
getting buried for this episode.
But yeah, LeBron's going to LA, so it's gonna be interesting to see how things go. Here's something I thought about during the week. Chris Paul decided to opt into his final year of his contract with the Bulls, but then Jimmy Butler was traded. Do you think Chris Paul is going to force a buyout or a trade? I mean, Dwayne Wade's going to force a buyout or trade to play in Cleveland next year?
I think Dwayne Wade is not going to play this year. He's not going to finish the year in Chicago.
I agree with you, man. I don't think he's finishing the year in Chicago. I think he opted in thinking, look, Butler will be here, but now it's like, oh, Butler's not here. And he literally opted in the day before the draft, day before the trade.
I don't think Rondo will be there either, though.
Man, it's gonna be interesting. Chicago, they're planning on rebuilding. Real quick, let's get to the NFL right now. Derek Carr signed a new contract, 5 years, $125 million. He has the largest contract in NFL history, and I mean, it is what it is. The salary cap's going up, so anytime a player of any position signs a mega deal for their position, they're going to be considered the highest paid at that position just because of inflation, salary caps going up, things like that. But specifically at the quarterback position, quarterbacks are usually the highest paid players on any team. So Derek Carr being signed to the largest contract in NFL history, does he deserve it? Yeah, because it's just the timing right now. Matthew Stafford next year is probably going to be signed to the largest contract ever. And then when Aaron Rodgers decides to sign, he'll probably be signed to the largest contract ever. It is what it is. It's all about timing when it comes to these contracts, specifically in basketball and football. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. He's also one of the best young quarterbacks in the game. That team, the Oakland Raiders, you got a very good defense. Well, let me not say very good. You got good pieces on defense.
Have a defense.
You have Khalil Mack, but you also have Amari Cooper, who's a great receiver, great route runner. And now you got a running back, Marshawn Lynch, lock up that quarterback position for years to come. And Derek Carr was like, look, I'm trying to get this done before training camp. So everything was in favor for the Oakland Raiders. So they should be pretty good for the next few years. Talking about another quarterback, Kirk Cousins of the Washington Redskins. Do you think he's going to sign a long-term deal before the franchise deadline reaches in July?
If he doesn't, he's not going to be a Redskin anymore. Like after this year. Like if they want to keep Kirk Cousins, they need to get a deal done before. And I think he just wants to be shown the love. He wants to be wanted.
He wants to be wanted. I have names for that, but I won't say that on air. This is what I think will happen. The way the Redskins organization has been speaking, I do believe he will be signed before the deadline. I believe he'll be a long-term quarterback for the Washington Redskins. And as a fan of their rival, the Dallas Cowboys, I would be extremely happy because that means if he's going to get paid the bucks that he's going to get paid, you're going to lose out on other players at other positions. And now you're going to be asking Kirk Cousins to be a superhero. And he is not one of those type of quarterbacks. He's a game manager, but he's not going to outright win you 10 games a year. You know, players like Rodgers and Brady and Bree. I don't even say Breeze anymore. Rodgers, Brady, and you could say Derek Carr and quarterbacks like that. They themselves will win you 10 games, and then the rest of the team could possibly win you anywhere from anywhere from 2 to 3 games just on the way the rest of the team plays. Kirk Cousins ain't winning you many games just because of his ability. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the Redskins do, what they do. But it seems like they're in love with Cousins. So I think it's going to happen. And at the end of the day, the Redskins will do nothing until they get a complete team. They'll do nothing. They either have a good offense, bad defense, good defense, bad offense, or they just don't have enough talent. And right now, I just don't think they have enough talent for you to be throwing a lot of money at Kirk Cousins. If you had talent around him, then yes, Kirk Cousins can be fine. But I don't think the talent's really there. Let's quickly get to something that happened this weekend that was extremely funny. Crosby, if you could play the Klay Thompson highlight or low light, like some would say. Klay Thompson was on tour with the shoe company. Can't remember the name of the shoe company. But take a look at this. Failed at that 360 dunk. Now, Matt, how embarrassing is that?
10 out of 10. It's pretty embarrassing.
And he didn't even hit the bottom of the rim too. He got no lift. I understand you played in the NBA Finals and you ended up playing 17 games plus the 82 games that you played this year. So you got close to 100 games. I understand that, but man, you can't be out here trying to show off and then falling like that. Like, that is embarrassing, dog. Even the cameramen and the fans were just laughing at him. But Klay Thompson is a square, and we all know that. But real quickly, let's talk about Major League Baseball real quick. Ichiro Suzuki became the oldest player in center field. I forgot his age, but he's older than when Willie Mays played in center field, and he's pretty productive still. Also, some other baseball news real quick before we wrap up. Tim Tebow was promoted from low-level Class A to high-level Class A with a batting average of 222, 69 strikeouts, and only 3 home runs. Why are you being promoted? Matt, why is he being promoted?
Because he packs the stands.
That is the only reason. And I wish Sandy Alderson, the general manager, would just say that. He said, his exit velocity and his chase ratio is outstanding. So, yeah, because he chases at every pitch that is thrown to him. That is why. Tim Tebow is a gimmick. He's just there to put some people in the seats, moving up to the higher level Class A. With that terrible statistics. Want to hear something real quick? When it comes to the league that he was in that low-level Class A league, out of 90 qualified batters in the leading batters, he was ranked 85th. How are you being promoted when you are the 85th best batter in the league? How is that? Makes no sense. So obviously it's a publicity stunt. It's going to be crazy if this man somehow gets up to AAA or even the majors. And the way the Mets are, he may end up in the majors. And it's ridiculous because Tim Tebow's a great athlete if he is playing at the Rec. He's a great athlete if he's in college. But this dude couldn't master playing in the NFL. And honestly, I don't think he'll master playing in Major League Baseball. So that's my opinion. But, Tim Tebow is literally looked at as deity. So he's going to get whatever he wants, and people are going to give him all the praise and stuff like that. Tim Tebow is playing worse than Michael Jordan at baseball.
That's impressive.
Just think about that. Just think about that. He's playing worse than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played on the AA and AAA level and was playing at spring training for the White Sox. Played a preseason game for the White Sox. And Tim Tebow is playing worse than him. Somehow will be promoted. Before we go, I want to thank you, Matt, for everything. Thank you for coming on the show 2 consecutive weeks. We got to figure out who won this mock draft challenge.
Pretty sure it was me.
Of course you would say that. I want to thank you, Crosby, for everything that you do. I want to thank all the viewers and the listeners. I want to thank those who watch not only live here, but also on the Facebook page. A lot of views, so I want to thank you for that. Stay tuned. We got a lot planned for the summer. And until next time, everyone, Sports Reality. Peace.